Thea Ashford is 22 years old and she is drowning. The water of the Iron River is so cold it doesn't feel like water at all. It feels like 1,000 knives carving into her skin. Her lungs scream for air, but every time she breaks the surface, the current drags her back under before she can draw a full breath. Two ribs on her right side are broken. She felt them snap when her body slammed into the submerged boulder 3 seconds after she hit the water. The pain is blinding, white hot, stealing what little strength she has left. Her dress, a thin cotton thing that was never meant for a Montana winter night, clings to her like a second skin. It weighs her down. Everything weighs her down. She cannot scream. There is no air left to scream with. The current pulls her deeper, faster. The moonlight above the surface grows dimmer. Her vision starts to blur at the edges, darkness creeping in like smoke. This is it, she thinks. This is how I die. Not with dignity, not with meaning, just discarded, thrown away like trash into freezing water by the one person who once promised to protect her. Alpha Darius Thornfield, her childhood friend, the boy who used to sneak her extra bread when the pack elders weren't looking, the boy who taught her how to skip stones on the lake behind the pack house. That boy is gone. 2 minutes ago, he pushed her off the cliff at Ironwood Ridge, and he didn't even hesitate. But Thea doesn't know something. Something that will change everything. The Iron River doesn't end in death. It flows south, into the territory of the Shadowmere Pack, into the hands of Callum Nightshade, the Alphaking who makes even other alphas tremble. And his son, 6-year-old Asher, has been silent for 3 years, ever since the night he watched his mother burn alive. In 7 minutes, that silence will break, and the first word out of his mouth will be, Mom. The person he will be speaking to is Thea. 11 years ago, Thea is 11 years old when her parents die. It happens on a Tuesday. She remembers because Tuesdays were always her favorite. That was the day her mother baked honey cakes, filling their small cottage at the edge of the Silver Hollow packlands with the scent of cinnamon and warmth. But this Tuesday, there are no honey cakes. This Tuesday, a rogue pack attacks the southern border. Her father, a warrior named Thomas Ashford, is one of the first to respond. Her mother, Clara, follows him. She is not a warrior, but she knows healing. Someone has to stop the bleeding. They don't come back. Thea waits by the window for 3 days before the then Alpha, Marcus Thornfield, comes to tell her the truth. Her parents died protecting the pack. They were brave. They were heroes. He says these things like they will comfort her. They don't. What comforts her is Darius. Darius is 13, all awkward limbs and 2 serious eyes for a boy his age. He is Marcus's son, the future Alpha. But on the day of Thea's parents' funeral, he doesn't act like royalty. He just sits beside her in the back pew of the chapel and holds her hand. He doesn't tell her it will be okay. He doesn't make empty promises. He just holds her hand. And later, when the adults are busy with their politics and their condolences that mean nothing, Darius takes Thea to the lake. They sit on the dock, their feet dangling in the water, and he teaches her how to skip stones. You have to flick your wrist, he says, demonstrating. The stone skips 4 times before sinking. Like this. Thea tries. Her stone plops straight into the water. Darius doesn't laugh. He just picks up another stone and places it in her palm. Try again. She does. Again and again, until the sun sets and her stone finally skips twice. There, Darius says, and he actually smiles. See? You just needed practice. That night, walking back to the pack house where Thea will now live in the servants' wing because she has nowhere else to go, Darius makes a promise. I'll protect you, he says, no matter what. Your pack. That means something. Thea believes him. For 11 years, she believes him. Thea is 22 now, and she is standing in the pack house kitchen, scrubbing dishes that aren't hers. She's been doing this for 11 years. Cooking, cleaning, mending, serving. She does not complain. Complaining would be ungrateful, and she owes the pack everything. They took her in when she had nothing, fed her, clothed her, kept her safe, even if she is not one of them. Not really, because Thea doesn't have a wolf. She should have shifted for the first time at 16 like every other healthy werewolf. But 16 came and went, so did 17, 18, 20. The pack doctor ran tests, found nothing wrong. Her blood is normal. Her genetics are clean. There is simply no wolf inside her. She is human, a defect, an embarrassment. Most packs would have exiled her, or worse. But Silver Hollow kept her, and Thea knows it's because of Darius. He is Alpha now, has been for 3 years since his father passed, and he remembers his promise. At least she thinks he does. But lately things have changed. Darius is engaged now to Serafina Corvell, a beautiful she-wolf from a powerful pack in the east. Serafina has golden hair and green eyes and a smile that could cut glass. She is everything an alpha's mate should be. Strong, graceful, deadly. And she hates Thea. Thea knows this because Serafina doesn't bother to hide it. Every time Thea serves dinner, Serafina watches her with cold eyes. Every time Thea walks past, Serafina's lip curls just slightly. And every time Darius isn't looking, Serafina leans in close and whispers things. You're a stain on this pack. He only keeps you out of pity. Everyone wishes you'd just leave. Thea never responds. What would be the point? Serafina is right. But tonight is different. Tonight, Thea is washing dishes when she hears raised voices from the Alpha's study. She shouldn't listen. She knows this. But the door is ajar and her hands are wet, and she freezes. She's a liability, Darius. That's Serafina's voice, sharp and certain. The other packs are talking. They say Silver Hollow is weak for harboring a human. It makes you look soft. She's not a liability. Darius sounds tired. She's been here for 11 years. She's pack. She's not pack, she's a servant. And the council is starting to ask questions. What if the Western Alliance finds out? They'll use it against you. Against us. A pause. Thea holds her breath. What are you suggesting? Darius asks. Send her away to the human cities. Give her money if you want. But she can't stay here. Not if you want to be taken seriously as Alpha. Another pause. Longer this time. I'll think about it, Darius finally says. Thea's hands shake. Water drips onto the floor, but she doesn't notice. He'll think about it. Not no. Not absolutely not. Just, I'll think about it. The promise from 11 years ago feels very far away now. The moon is full when Darius comes to find Thea. She is in her room, a small space in the servants' wing with a narrow bed and a single window. She is mending a hole in one of the packed children's shirts when she hears the knock. Thea, it's me. She opens the door. Darius stands in the hallway, hands in his pockets. He looks older than a 24. The weight of leadership has carved lines into his face that weren't there 3 years ago. Can we talk? He asks. Of course, Alpha. The title tastes strange on her tongue. She used to call him Darius, just Darius, but that was before. Not here, he says. Take a walk with me. She should say no. Every instinct she has, every tiny alarm bell in the back of her mind is screaming at her to say no. But this is Darius, the boy who held her hand at her parents' funeral, the boy who taught her to skip stones. So she says yes. They walk in silence through the packlands, past the main houses, past the training grounds, toward the forest. The night air is crisp and cold. Thea's breath mists in front of her face. Where are we going? She asks. Somewhere we can talk without being overheard. They keep walking. The trees grow thicker. The path narrows. And then they're at Ironwood Ridge, the cliff that overlooks the Iron River far below. Thea stops. Darius, why are we here? He turns to face her, and in the moonlight she can see his expression. It's hard, resolved, like he's already made a decision and hates himself for it. Thea, he says quietly, you know I care about you. I know. But Serafina is right. The other packs are talking. The council is putting pressure on me. As long as you're here, they see me as weak. Thea's heart is pounding now. So send me away. I'll go. I'll leave tonight. You don't have to. It's too late for that. She doesn't understand. Send you away. People will ask questions. Send you away. People will ask questions. They'll wonder why. They'll dig. And they'll find out that I've been protecting you all these years. That'll make everything worse. I don't understand. The only way this works, Darius says, and his voice is flat, emotionless, is if you disappear. Permanently. The world tilts. Thea's breath catches in her throat. You can't mean... I'm sorry, Thea, I really am, but you don't belong here. You never did. He doesn't shove her hard. That's the worst part. It's almost gentle. Just a push, firm and final, right at the center of her chest. Thea's feet leave the ground. She doesn't scream. There isn't time. The last thing she sees before the darkness swallows her is Darius's face turned away, like he can't bear to watch. And then she's falling. 60 feet of empty air. The wind tears at her dress, her hair, her skin. And then, impact. The water is a shock. It punches the air from her lungs. The cold is so brutal, so absolute, that for a moment she can't even feel the pain in her ribs. But then the current grabs her, and the pain roars back to life. She tries to swim. She knows how to swim, but the river is too strong, too fast, and the cold is sapping her strength with every second. Her limbs are going numb. Her fingers won't cooperate. She breaks the surface for half a second, gasps, goes under again. The darkness is pulling at her now, not just the darkness of the water, but the darkness behind her eyes. Her body is shutting down. Hypothermia, shock, blood loss from where the rocks tore her skin. This is it, she thinks again. This is really it. She thinks about her parents, wonders if she'll see them soon. She thinks about Darius and the promise he broke. And she thinks, with bitter clarity, I should have said no to that walk. Her lungs are burning. She can't hold her breath any longer. She opens her mouth, water rushes in, and everything goes black, cold. That's the first thing Thea feels when she wakes. Not the wet, biting cold of the river, but a different cold. The cold of stone against her cheek. The cold of night air on soaked skin. She coughs. Water and bile come up, burning her throat. Open. The world is a blur at first, all open. The world is a blur at first, all dark shapes in silver moonlight. Slowly it comes into focus. She's on a riverbank, smooth stones beneath her, towering pine trees all around, their branches so thick they block out most of the sky. The air smells different here, cleaner, wilder. She tries to sit up. Her body protests violently, but she manages it, leaning against a moss-covered boulder. Where am I? The river is quieter here. Slower. It must have widened out, the current losing its murderous strength. That's the only reason she's still breathing. But this isn't Silver Hollow territory. The trees are wrong. The scent is wrong. A sound makes her freeze. A rustling. Close. Too close. Thea's heart lurches. She tries to stand, to run, but her legs won't hold her. She collapses back against the rock, biting down on a cry of pain. The rustling grows louder. And then, stepping out from between two massive pines is a wolf. Thea stops breathing. The wolf is small, a pup maybe. Its fur is black as midnight, almost blue in the moonlight. Its eyes are pale gray, almost silver, and they're fixed on her. Thea knows she should be afraid. Wolves, even pups, can be dangerous, especially to a human with no wolf of her own to call on. But she's too tired to be afraid, too cold, too broken. So she just stares back. The wolf tilts its head, takes a cautious step forward, then another. Thea doesn't move. The wolf is close now, so close she can see the rise and fall of its small chest, the careful placement of its paws. It sniffs the air, sniffs her, and then, to Thea's shock, the wolf licks her face. It's warm, the tongue is rough but gentle, and the warmth of it against her frozen skin is startling. Hey, Thea rasps. Her voice is raw from the river water. Easy there. The wolf doesn't stop. It licks her cheek again, her forehead, like it's trying to clean the mud and blood away. And then the air around the wolf starts to shimmer. Thea has seen this before. She knows what's happening, the shift. Bones crack and reform. Fur retracts. In less than 3 seconds, the small black wolf is gone. In its place is a boy. He's maybe 6 years old with a tangle of black curls and those same pale gray eyes. He's wearing torn shorts and nothing else. His skinny chest heaving like he's just run a mile. He stares at Thea. Thea stares back. Hi, she whispers. The boy doesn't speak. He just keeps staring, his expression unreadable. Thea tries to smile even though her face feels like it might crack. I'm Thea. What's your name? Still no answer. The boy takes a step closer. He's studying her now, his eyes roaming over her soaked dress, her bruised arms, the cut on her forehead that's still bleeding sluggishly. And then he does something that makes Thea's breath catch. He reaches out, slowly, carefully, and he takes her hand. His fingers are small and warm, and they curl around hers with a gentleness that makes her chest ache. Are you okay? She asks. Are you lost? The boy shakes his head, not lost. Are your parents nearby? At that, something flickers across his face, something dark and painful. He looks away. I'm sorry, Thea says quickly. I didn't mean to. A sound cuts her off, a roar. It's not quite human and not quite wolf. It's something in between, something primal and furious, and it shakes the ground beneath Thea's broken body. The boy's head snaps up, his eyes going wide, and then, from the darkness of the forest, something massive steps into the moonlight. It's a wolf, but calling it a wolf is like calling a hurricane a breeze. This creature is enormous. It stands nearly as tall as a horse at the shoulder, with fur so black it seems to swallow the light around it. Its eyes are not gray like the boy's. They are silver, burning with an intensity that makes Thea's heart stutter. This is an alpha, and not just any alpha. The power radiating off this wolf is suffocating. It presses down on Thea like a physical weight, making it hard to breathe, hard to think. The wolf's lips pull back, revealing fangs the length of her fingers. A growl rumbles from deep in its chest, vibrating through the stones beneath her. It's going to kill me, Thea thinks with strange clarity. After everything, this is how it ends. But then the boy moves. He steps between Thea and the massive wolf. His small body is shaking, but he doesn't back down. He spreads his arms wide, shielding her. The wolf stops growling. Its head tilts, silver eyes narrowing. The boy doesn't move, doesn't speak. He just stands there, this tiny, fragile thing, protecting a stranger from a monster. The wolf makes a sound, not a growl this time, something softer, confused. And then the shift begins. This time it's violent, fast. Bones snap and reshape with sounds like gunfire. The massive wolf folds in on itself, shrinking, changing. 30 seconds later, a man stands where the wolf had been. He's tall, easily over 6 feet, broad-shouldered and heavily muscled, his body a map of scars. His hair is long and black, falling past his shoulders. His face is hard, all sharp angles and harsh lines, with a scar cutting down his left cheek. He's naked, but he doesn't seem to care. And his eyes, still that burning silver, are locked on Thea. "Who?" he says, and his voice is like gravel, rough and deep. "Are you?" Thea can't speak. Her tongue feels too heavy. Her thoughts are scattered. The man takes a step forward. "I asked you a question." The boy, still standing between them, shakes his head violently. He grabs Thea's hand tighter. The man's expression shifts, just slightly. The anger dims, replaced by something that might be confusion, might be pain. "Asher," the man says, and his voice is softer now, gentler. "Step aside." So that's his name, Asher. But Asher doesn't move. He holds Thea's hand and stands his ground. The man, this terrifying alpha who makes the air itself feel heavy, lets out a long breath. He runs a hand through his wet hair, and Thea realizes with a start that he's soaking. He must have crossed the river. "Fine," the man mutters. He looks at Thea again, and this time there's something calculating in his gaze. "You're trespassing. This is Shadowmere territory. Do you have any idea what that means?" Thea swallows, finds her voice. I didn't mean to. I fell. Into the river. I didn't know where I'd end up." "You fell?" "Yes." "Into the Iron River?" "Yes." The man's eyes narrow. "No one survives the Iron River in winter. Not without help. I don't know what to tell you. I just woke up here." He studies her for a long moment. Then his gaze drops to where Asher is still holding her hand. Something in the man's expression cracks. Just for a second, Thea sees it. Pain, raw and deep. "Asher," the man says quietly, "let go of her." Asher shakes his head. "She's a stranger. You don't know her. Let go." Another head shake, firmer this time. The man closes his eyes, takes a breath. When he opens them again, the hardness is back. "Can you walk?" Thea tries. She really does. But the moment she puts weight on her left leg, it buckles. She gasps, pain shooting up her ankle. The man moves before she can hit the ground. He catches her, one arm around her waist, steady and sure. Up close, he smells like rain and pine and something darker. Something wild. "Broken, Ajam?" he asks. "I don't think so. Maybe sprained." "Ribs?" "Cracked. 2 of them." He makes a sound that might be approval. "You're tougher than you look." Is that a compliment? It's an observation. He shifts his grip, and before Thea can protest, he's lifting her. One arm under her knees, one behind her back, like she weighs nothing. "What are you doing?" "Taking you back to the estate. You need medical attention." "I can walk." "No, you can't." He looks down at Asher. "Come on, Ash, let's go home." Asher hesitates. Then he nods, and he shifts back into his wolf form in a blur of black fur. He trots alongside them as the man starts walking. Thea wants to protest, wants to demand answers. But she's so tired, so cold. And the man's body is warm, his grip secure. Her eyes are already closing. "What's your name?" she mumbles. The man glances down at her. For a moment he doesn't answer. Then quietly, "Callum. Callum Nightshade. Nightshade. The Alpha King." Oh, Thea thinks, oh no. But before she can process that, before she can panic, exhaustion drags her under. The last thing she feels is Asher's wet nose nudging her hand. The last thing she hears is Callum's voice, low and rough. "You're safe now, I promise." And despite everything, Despite the fact that the last person who made her a promise broke it in the worst way possible, Thea believes him. Thea wakes to softness. That's the first thing she registers. Not cold stone, not wet ground. Softness. She's lying in a bed, a real bed, with sheets that smell like lavender and cedar. The mattress beneath her is thick and comfortable. Nothing like the thin cot she slept on at Silver Hollow. For a moment, she keeps her eyes closed. Tries to remember where she is, how she got here. And then it all comes rushing back. The cliff, the river, the black wolf pup, the massive alpha who carried her in his arms. Callum Nightshade. Her eyes snap open. The room is large, far larger than any space she's ever been given. High ceilings with dark wooden beams. A fireplace in the corner, glowing with low embers. Floor-to-ceiling windows that look out over an endless forest blanketed in morning mist. The light coming through those windows is soft and gray. Dawn, maybe, or just after. Thea tries to sit up. Her body immediately reminds her why that's a bad idea. Pain flares in her ribs, her ankle, her shoulders. She gasps and falls back against the pillows. Easy now. The voice comes from the doorway. Thea turns her head, wincing. A woman stands there. She's older, maybe 60, with silver-streaked brown hair pulled back in a braid. Her face is kind, lined with years of smiling. She's carrying a tray with a teapot and what looks like bandages. "You gave us quite a scare, child," the woman says, moving into the room with practiced ease. She sets the tray on the bedside table. "When the Alpha brought you in last night, you were half frozen and delirious, kept mumbling about falling." "I did fall," Thea says, her voice is hoarse. "Into the river." The woman's eyebrows rise. "The Iron River?" "Yes. And you survived." It's not a question. More like a statement of disbelief. "The goddess must have plans for you, girl." Thea doesn't know about that, but she doesn't argue. The woman pours tea from the pot. The steam that rises smells like chamomile and honey. "I'm Elowen, housekeeper here at Shadowmere. An unofficial healer, though don't tell the pack doctor I said that. He gets territorial." "Thea," she manages. "Thea Ashford." "Well, Thea Ashford, let's have a look at you." Elowen sets the teacup aside and gently pulls back the blankets. Thea realizes with a start that she's no longer wearing her soaked dress. She's in a soft cotton nightgown, clean and dry. "I changed you last night," Elowen says, noticing her expression. "Don't worry, it's nothing I haven't seen before." She examines Thea's ribs with careful fingers, her touch light but thorough. Thea hisses when she presses on the right side. "2 cracked ribs," Elowen confirms. "I've wrapped them, but you'll need to be careful for a few weeks. No heavy lifting, no sudden movements. And my ankle? Sprained, not broken. You're lucky." Elowen moves to inspect the ankle, unwrapping the bandage to check the swelling. "Very lucky. Another hour in that river, and we'd be having a different conversation." Thea doesn't feel lucky, but she nods. Elowen rewraps the ankle with expert hands, then helps Thea sit up slowly, propping pillows behind her back. She hands her the tea. "Drink. You need to warm up from the inside." The tea is perfect, sweet and soothing. Thea cradles the cup in both hands, letting the warmth seep into her fingers. "Where am I?" she asks. "Shadowmere Estate, the Alpha's home." "And the boy, Asher?" Something shifts in Elowen's expression. Softness, sadness. "He's fine. Sleeping, last I checked. Though I expect he'll be awake soon. He's an early riser." "He doesn't talk," Thea says. "It's not a question." Elowen's hand's still on the bandages. For a moment she doesn't answer, then quietly, "No, he doesn't. Hasn't spoken a word in 3 years." "What happened?" Elowen looks at her, measuring, deciding how much to say. "That's not my story to tell, child. But I will say this. You did something last night that no one's been able to do since the fire." "What?" "You made him smile." Elowen's eyes are shining now. "And you made him reach out, touch someone. He hasn't done that since his mother died. The Alpha, he's tried everything. Healers, therapists, nothing worked. But you," she shakes her head, "you show up half dead on our riverbank, and within 5 minutes that boy is holding your hand like you're his lifeline." Thea doesn't know what to say to that. "The Alpha wants to speak with you," Elowen continues. "When you're ready, but there's no rush. Rest first. Heal." "I need to leave," Thea says. The words tumble out before she can stop them. "I need to go before anyone finds me here. I'm putting you all in danger." Elowen frowns. "Danger? From who?" But before Thea can answer, there's a sound at the door. A small sound, like a knock but softer. Both women turn, Standing in the doorway, still in his pajamas, is Asher. His black curls are sleep must. His gray eyes are wide, and he's staring at Thea like she might disappear if he looks away. "Good morning, Asher," Elowen says gently. "Come to check on our guest?" Asher nods. He takes a tentative step into the room. Then another. Thea sets her teacup down. "Hi," she says softly. Asher doesn't speak, but he crosses the room and without hesitation climbs up onto the bed next to Thea. Elowen makes a small noise of protest. "Asher, be careful, she's hurt." But Asher is already curling up against Thea's side, his small body fitting perfectly against hers. He rests his head on her shoulder, careful to avoid her injured ribs, and he takes her hand, the same way he did last night by the river. Thea's breath catches. She looks at Elowen, uncertain. But Elowen is smiling now, tears in her eyes. "Well," she whispers, "would you look at that?" Asher's thumb rubs small circles on the back of Thea's hand. It's soothing, grounding. And despite everything, despite the pain and the fear and the uncertainty of what comes next, Thea feels something she hasn't felt in a very long time. Safe. Time moves differently at Shadowmere. At Silver Hollow, Thea's days were regimented. Wake at dawn, cook breakfast, clean, serve, cook lunch, clean, serve, cook dinner, clean, serve, sleep, repeat. Here, there is no schedule. No one tells her what to do or where to be. Elowen brings her meals, helps her to the bathroom when her ankle won't cooperate, changes her bandages twice a day, and Asher visits every day, multiple times a day. He never knocks, just appears in the doorway, watching, waiting. "Come in," Thea always says, and he always does. On the second day, he brings a book, a picture book about a dragon and a girl who becomes friends. He climbs onto the bed, settles against her good side, and hands her the book. "You want me to read to you?" Thea asks. Asher nods. So she does. Her voice is still rough from the river water, but she reads anyway. About the dragon who's lonely and the girl who's brave and how they save each other. Asher doesn't make a sound, but his hand never leaves hers. On the third day, he brings crayons and paper. "You want to draw?" Thea asks. Another nod. They draw together. Thea's pictures are simple. A tree, a house, a sun. Hers are more complex. He draws wolves, lots of wolves, a big black one that must be his father, a smaller black one that must be him, and a figure with long brown hair. "Is that me?" Thea asks, pointing to the figure. Asher looks up at her, and he smiles. It's the second smile she's seen from him, and it breaks her heart in the best way. On the fourth day, Thea is finally allowed out of bed. Elowen helps her to the bathroom, where there's a tub deep enough to swim in. The hot water is heaven on her aching muscles. When she emerges, clean and dressed in borrowed clothes, a simple gray sweater and soft pants that Elowen found for her, Asher is waiting in her room. He takes her hand and tugs. "You want to show me something?" Thea asks. He nods eagerly. "Okay, but we have to go slow. My ankle's still sore." They walk through the estate. It's massive. Stone walls and high ceilings and windows everywhere. The architecture is beautiful but austere, like a castle built for defense, not comfort. Asher leads her to the kitchen. It's enormous, all stainless steel and marble counters. Elowen is there chopping vegetables. "Well, hello," Elowen says, smiling. "Feeling better?" "Much, thank you." Asher tugs Thea over to the counter, points at the mixing bowls. "You want to cook something?" Thea guesses. Asher nods so hard his curls bounce. Elowen laughs. "He loves cookies, but I'm terrible at baking. Always burn them." "I can make cookies," Thea says, "if that's okay." "More than okay, please. Save me from his disappointed face." So they bake. Thea measures and mixes while Asher watches with rapt attention. She lets him stir, lets him taste the dough, just a tiny bit. His eyes go wide with delight. They make chocolate chip cookies, 24 of them. The kitchen fills with the smell of butter and sugar and warmth. When the first batch comes out of the oven, golden and perfect, Asher bounces on his toes. "Let them cool first," Thea says, "or you'll burn your tongue." He waits, barely, and when she finally hands him a cookie, still warm, he takes a bite and his whole face lights up. He throws his arms around her waist, hugs her tight. Thea looks at Elowen, who's crying again. "He hasn't hugged anyone," Elowen whispers, "since before the fire." That's when Thea hears footsteps. Heavy, deliberate. She turns. Callum Nightshade stands in the kitchen doorway. He's dressed this time in dark jeans and a black Henley that stretches across his broad chest. His hair is pulled back in a low knot. The scar on his cheek is more visible in the kitchen light. He's staring at Asher, at the way the boy is clinging to Thea. His expression is unreadable. Alpha, Elowen says, would you like a cookie? Fresh from the oven. But Callum doesn't answer. He's still looking at his son. Asher notices him, pulls back from Thea just slightly. But he doesn't let go of Evander. Hey, buddy, Callum says softly. His voice is so different from the growl Thea heard by the river. It's gentle, careful. Having fun? Asher nods. That's good. Callum's eyes flick to Thea. Can I talk to you when you have a moment? It's not really a question, but it's not a command either. Of course, Thea says. She looks down at Asher. I'll be right back, okay? You stay here with Elowen and eat cookies. Asher's grip tightens on her hand. He looks uncertain. I promise, Thea says. I'm just going to talk to your dad. I'll come back. After a long moment, Asher lets go. Thea follows Callum out of the kitchen, down a long hallway into what must be his study. It's a dark room, lots of wood, lots of books, a massive desk covered in papers, windows that overlook the forest. Callum closes the door, turns to face her. Sit, he says, gesturing to a leather chair. Thea sits. Her ankle throbs, grateful for the rest. Callum doesn't sit. He leans against the desk, arms crossed, studying her. How are you feeling? He asks. Better. Elowen's been taking good care of me. Good. A pause. You've been here for 4 days. I know, and I'm grateful, but I should probably leave soon, before I cause you any trouble. What kind of trouble? Thea hesitates. The pack I came from, they think I'm dead. But if they find out I'm alive, if they find out I'm here. Who was it? Callum asks. His voice is calm, but there's an edge to it. Who threw you off that cliff? It doesn't matter. It does to me. Thea looks down at her hands. I don't want to cause problems. Too late. But he doesn't sound angry, just tired. Thea, look at me. She does. His silver eyes are intense, searching. My son hasn't smiled in 3 years. He hasn't touched anyone, hasn't let anyone close. The therapist said he might never speak again, that the trauma was too deep. Thea's chest tightens. Then you show up, Callum continues, and within hours he's holding your hand. Within days he's hugging you, baking with you. He's happy. His voice cracks on the last word. Do you understand what that means to me? I didn't do anything special, Thea whispers. I just talked to him, treated him like he matters. Exactly. Callum pushes off the desk, takes a step toward her. That's exactly it. Everyone else treats him like he's broken, like he's a problem to solve. You treat him like he's just a kid who needs kindness, because that's what he is. I know. Callum runs a hand through his hair, which is why I'm asking you to stay. Not just for a few more days, but until he's ready to let you go, if he ever is. Thea stares at him. You want me to stay? I'm offering you a position, officially, as Asher's companion. Nanny, if you want to call it that. You'd have a room here, meals, a salary, protection. I don't need money. You need somewhere safe, and my son needs you. He meets her eyes. Please. Thea thinks about Silver Hollow, about Darius and Seraphina and the years of being invisible. She thinks about Asher's smile, his small hand in hers. Okay, she says, I'll stay. Something in Callum's expression softens. Relief, maybe. Thank you. But before Thea can respond, before she can ask any of the questions piling up in her mind, there's a sound from the hallway. A scream, high-pitched, terrified. Asher, Callum is moving before Thea can even stand. He's out the door in a blur of speed, and Thea is right behind him, ignoring the pain in her ankle. They run to Asher's bedroom. The door is open. Inside, the boy is in bed, thrashing, his small body tangled in sheets. He's asleep, but he's screaming. Soundless, open-mouthed screams that make no noise but shake his whole frame. Elowen is there, trying to wake him. Asher, honey, it's okay. It's just a dream. Wake up, sweetheart. But he doesn't wake. He just keeps screaming silently, tears streaming down his face. Callum goes to him, sits on the edge of the bed. Asher, it's Dad. I'm here. You're safe. He doesn't want to grab the boy. Thea can see it in the way his hands hover, uncertain. He's afraid of making it worse. Thea moves forward. Let me trade my... Callum looks at her, nods. She sits on the other side of the bed. Asher, she says softly. It's Thea. I'm here. Can you hear me? His screaming doesn't stop, but his head turns toward her voice. That's it, Thea murmurs. She reaches out slowly and takes his hand. I'm right here. You're not alone. You're safe. And then she starts to sing. It's a lullaby her mother used to sing to her. Simple words, a gentle melody about stars and moonlight and being held. Asher's thrashing slows. Thea keeps singing, keeps holding his hand. The silent screams fade. His breathing evens out. By the time she finishes the second verse, he's calm. Still asleep, but peaceful now. Thea doesn't let go of his hand. She stays there, sitting beside him, until she's sure the nightmare won't come back. When she finally looks up, Callum is staring at her. His eyes are red, wet. "How did you do that?" he whispers. "I just sang." No one's been able to calm him during nightmares. Not me, not Elowen, not anyone. His voice breaks. "I'm his father, and I can't help him." Thea's heart aches. "You do help him. You're here, you try, that's what matters." "But it's not enough." "It is," she says firmly. "You're fighting for him every day. That's not failure, that's courage." Callum stares at her for a long moment. Then he looks away, jaw tight. Elowen quietly slips out of the room, leaving them alone. Thea stays where she is, Asher's hand in hers. Callum stays too, watching his son sleep, watching Thea. "His mother," he says after a while. "Isabeau. She died 3 years ago." Thea doesn't speak, just listens. "There was a fire in the West Wing. Faulty wiring," they said. "It spread fast, too fast." Callum's voice is hollow. "Isabeau got Asher out, but she went back in. For something, I don't know what. Maybe photos, maybe a keepsake. It doesn't matter. She went back in, and the ceiling collapsed." Thea closes her eyes. "Asher saw it," Callum continues. "He was right there in my arms, watching his mother die, and I couldn't stop it. I was holding him, keeping him safe, but I couldn't save her." "That's not your fault, isn't it?" His laugh is bitter. "I'm an alpha. I'm supposed to protect my family, and I failed. You saved your son, but I couldn't save both." Thea looks at him, really looks. She sees the guilt carved into every line of his face, the self-hatred that's been eating him alive for 3 years. "You're not a god," she says quietly. "You're just a man, a father. You did the best you could. My best wasn't good enough. Your best kept Asher alive, and right now he needs you to keep fighting. Because if you give up on yourself, you're giving up on him." Callum's jaw works. He looks like he wants to argue, but he doesn't. Instead, he just sits there in the dark room with his sleeping son and this strange woman who's somehow become part of their lives in less than a week. "Thank you," he finally says, "for being here, for helping him." "You don't have to thank me. I care about him." "I can see that." A pause. "He cares about you, too, and that terrifies me." "Why?" Callum meets her eyes. "Because if you leave, it'll break him, and I don't think he can survive being broken again." Thea doesn't know what to say to that, so she just holds Asher's hand and stays. They sit in silence until dawn starts to creep through the windows. And when Asher wakes, calm and rested for the first time in months, the first thing he does is smile at Thea. The second thing he does is reach for his father. Callum gathers him into his arms, holding him close. And for the first time since Thea arrived, she sees hope in Callum's eyes. The days blur together in the best way. Thea spends her mornings with Asher, reading, drawing, playing in the gardens when the weather allows, teaching him to identify birds by their songs. She spends her afternoons helping Elowen in the kitchen or the library, organizing books, learning the rhythms of the estate. And she spends her evenings with the whole household, eating dinner in the massive dining room. Just her, Asher, Callum, and Elowen. It's quiet, comfortable. It feels like family. Thea tries not to think about that too much, tries not to let herself get attached. Because this isn't permanent. Can't be. But it's hard not to feel at home when Asher runs to greet her every morning, when Elowen teaches her to make sourdough bread, when Callum asks her opinion on which book to read to Asher at bedtime. On the 13th night, after Asher is asleep, Thea finds herself in the library. She can't sleep. Her mind is too restless. She's running her fingers along the spines of the books when she hears a sound, a crash, from somewhere deeper in the estate. She shouldn't investigate. She knows this. But her feet are already moving, following the sound. It leads her to a part of the estate she hasn't explored. A wing that's always kept closed. The air here is colder, the lights dimmer. Another crash. Closer now. Thea follows it to a door at the end of the hallway. It's slightly ajar. She pushes it open. The room inside is in shambles, furniture overturned, papers scattered, and in the middle of it all, Callum. He's on his knees on the floor, a framed photograph clutched in one hand. His other hand is pressed to his forehead, and his shoulders are shaking. He's crying. Thea should leave. She knows she should. This is private, personal. But she can't. Callum? She says softly. His head snaps up. His eyes are wild, red-rimmed. Get out. Are you okay? I said get out. But there's no heat in it, just desperation. Thea steps into the room, closes the door behind her. What happened? Nothing, I'm fine, just leave me alone. She looks around the room, sees the photographs on the walls, a beautiful woman with dark hair and Asher's eyes. Isabeau. This must have been her room, or maybe their room before. You're not fine, Thea says. What do you know about it? Callum's voice cracks. You've been here 2 weeks. You don't know anything about me. I know you're in pain. Everyone's in pain. That doesn't make yours matter less. Callum laughs. It's a broken sound. You want to know what I was doing? I was looking at pictures of my dead wife and hating myself. That's what I do every night, every single night for 3 years. Thea's heart clenches. Callum, I was 5 minutes late, he says, and the words pour out like a dam breaking. 5 minutes. If I'd been on time, if I'd come home when I was supposed to, I could have been here. I could have saved her. But I was at a meeting, a stupid, pointless meeting about Border Patrol schedules. And my wife died because I chose pack business over family. You didn't choose her death. Didn't I? He looks at the photograph. She called me. Did you know that? Right before the fire started. She said Asher was asking for me, said to come home, and I said I'd be there in 10 minutes. 10 became 20, 20 became 30, and by the time I got here, the whole wing was in flames. Thea moves closer, sits on the floor next to him. I heard her screaming, Callum whispers. I heard my son screaming. I got Asher out, but she wouldn't leave. She kept saying there was something she needed, something important, and I had to choose. Take Asher to safety or go in after her. You made the right choice. Did I? Because Asher spent 3 years mute and traumatized, and Isabeau is dead. How is that right? You saved your son's life, but I couldn't save hers. Callum sets the photograph down carefully, and every night I come in here and I look at her face and I ask her to forgive me, and she never answers. Thea reaches out, hesitates, then gently takes his hand. Callum stares at their joined hands like he's never seen anything like it. She would forgive you, Thea says quietly, because she was a mother, and mothers understand sacrifice. She made hers. She chose to go back into that fire. You didn't make her do that. She chose it. How do you know? Because I've seen how much you love Asher, and she loved him the same way. She wouldn't want you destroying yourself over her choice. Callum's breath hitches. I miss her. I know. I'm so tired of being alone. You're not alone, Thea says. You have Asher, you have Elowen, you have people who care about you. It's not the same. No, it's not, but it's something. They sit there in the wreckage of his grief. Thea doesn't let go of his hand. After a long time, Callum speaks again. Why are you being kind to me? Because you need it. You don't owe me anything. Neither did you, Thea says, but you saved my life anyway. Callum looks at her then, really looks, and Thea sees something shift in his expression. Something she can't quite name. Thea, he starts, but before he can finish, there's a knock at the door. Elowen's voice, urgent. Alpha, we have a problem. Callum is on his feet instantly, his grief shoved aside. What is it? Elowen pushes the door open. Her face is pale. There are wolves at the border, 4 of them, demanding entry. Who? Silver Hollow Pack. Thea's blood runs cold. Callum's eyes snap to her, then back to Elowen. Stall them, I'm coming. Elowen nods and disappears. Thea, Callum says, is there something you need to tell me? She stands on shaking legs. They're looking for me, Darius, the alpha who threw me off the cliff. He must have figured out I survived. Callum's expression hardens. He threw you? I told you at the Dwum. You said you fell, you lied. I didn't want to drag you into my mess. Too late. Callum strides to the door. Stay here, keep Asher safe. I'll handle this. Callum, wait. But he's already gone. Thea stands alone in the ruined room, Isabeau's photograph watching her from the floor, and she knows with absolute certainty that everything is about to change. Callum Nightshade walks through his estate with the quiet fury of a storm gathering strength. His hands are steady, his breathing is controlled. But inside, beneath the careful mask of an Alpha King, rage burns white hot. Someone hurt her. Someone threw Thea off a cliff and left her to drown. And now that someone is at his border, demanding entry. The throne room is at the heart of the estate. It's a massive space, all dark stone and towering windows. At the far end sits a chair carved from black oak, worn smooth by generations of alphas. Callum doesn't sit. He stands in front of it, arms crossed, waiting. Elwyn appears in the doorway. They're here, Alpha. Bring them in. 4 wolves enter. 3 are warriors, large and in battle scarred, their eyes wary. They flank the 4th, who walks with the arrogant confidence of someone who's never been told no. Alpha Darius Thornfield is handsome in a clean-cut, polished way. Dark hair, strong jaw, eyes the color of amber. He looks young to be an alpha, maybe 24, 25 at most. He also looks furious. Alpha Nightshade, Darius says, stopping 10 feet from Callum. His tone is respectful, but barely. Thank you for seeing us. Well, Callum doesn't respond, just stares. Darius shifts his weight. I apologize for the late hour, but I'm here on urgent pack business. Stated. I'm looking for someone, a girl who went missing from my territory 2 weeks ago. Her name is Thea Ashford. Callum's expression doesn't change. And what makes you think she's here? Her scent trail led to the Iron River, and the Iron River flows into your lands. Darius takes a step forward. If she survived, she would have washed up on your shores. The Iron River kills most who fall into it. Most, but not all. Darius's eyes narrow. I know she's here. I can smell her. Faintly, but it's there. Lavender and cedar. That's her. Callum is silent for 3 long heartbeats. Then why are you looking for her? She belongs to Silver Hollow Pack. She's under my protection. Is she? It's not a question. It's a statement dripping with skepticism. Darius bristles. Yes, she is. Her parents died serving my pack. We took her in, raised her. She's ours. And yet she ended up in the river. Callum's voice drops to something dangerous. How does someone under your protection end up falling into the deadliest river in Montana in the middle of winter? It was an accident. Was it? Again, not a question. Darius's jaw tightens. I don't appreciate what you're implying, Alpha Nightshade. I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. A girl under your so-called protection nearly died, and now you show up at my door demanding her return. Callum takes a step forward. Just one, but it makes all 4 Silver Hollow wolves tense. Tell me, Thornfield, what happened at that cliff? I told you, it was an accident. You're lying. The air in the room shifts. The temperature seems to drop. One of Darius's warriors whimpers, actually whimpers, and takes a step back. Alpha dominance is rolling off Callum now. Not full force. Just enough to make a point. Darius holds his ground, but sweat beads on his forehead. With respect, Alpha, what happened in my territory is my business. I'm simply here to reclaim pack property. Property. The word is soft, deadly. You just called her property. She's a member of my pack. That makes her a person. A person, Callum interrupts, not property. A person with rights and autonomy. Or does Silver Hollow not recognize that? Darius's face flushes. I misspoke. Of course she's a person, but pack law is clear. She was born in Silver Hollow territory. She belongs to us. She nearly died because of you. That's an accusation you can't prove. Can I? Callum tilts his head. Because I could have her examined by a healer. I could have that healer testify that her injuries are consistent with being pushed, not falling. I could bring this to the council. See how they feel about an alpha attempting to murder a defenseless pack member. Darius goes pale. You wouldn't. Try me. For a long moment, they stare at each other. 2 alphas, 2 wills locked in combat. Then Darius laughs. It's a harsh, brittle sound. You think you can protect her? You think hiding her here makes her safe? Safer than she was with you. The council won't see it that way. Pack law is sacred. She was born in my territory, raised in my pack. That gives me claim. And if you refuse to return her, the council will side with me. Usta Callum knows he's right, hates that he's right, but shows nothing on his face. Fine, Callum says. Bring it to the council. Let them decide, they shall. Darius blinks. He clearly wasn't expecting agreement. You're willing to go to council over a human? She's not just a human. She's someone under my protection now, and I don't abandon my people. The emphasis on my people is pointed, a direct jab at Darius's failure. Darius's hands clench into fists. The winter gathering is in 3 days. I'll file a formal challenge, And when the council sides with me, you'll have no choice but to hand her over. We'll see. You're making a mistake, Nightshade. She's nothing. She doesn't even have a wolf. Then why do you want her back so badly? Darius doesn't have an answer to that. Or maybe he does, but he's smart enough not to say it. After a beat, he turns on his heel. 3 days, Alpha. See you at the gathering. He and his warriors leave. The moment they're gone, Elwyn appears from the shadows. He's going to make trouble. I know. The council will likely side with him. Pack Law is on his side. I know that too. Elwyn studies him. Then why fight it? Callum looks at her. Because she matters to Asher. And what matters to my son matters to me. And that's the only reason? He doesn't answer. Thea doesn't sleep that night. She paces her room until dawn, wearing a path in the carpet. Her mind races with fear and guilt and a strange foreign feeling she can't quite name. She should leave, should run before the council meets, disappear into the human cities where no pack can find her. But every time she considers it, she thinks of Asher's smile, his small hand in hers, the way he curls up next to her while she reads. She can't leave him. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The thought terrifies her. At dawn, there's a knock on her door. Come in, she calls. Callum enters. He looks tired, like he didn't sleep either. He's wearing dark jeans and a gray sweater, his hair loose around his shoulders. We need to talk, he says. Thea nods, sits on the edge of the bed. Callum takes the chair by the window. For a moment, he just looks at her. The council will meet in 3 days, he says. Darius is filing a formal challenge. He'll argue that you belong to Silver Hollow Pack by birthright. He's right, I was born there. That doesn't give him ownership of you. Pack Law says it does. Pack Law also says an Alpha is responsible for the safety of all Pack members. He failed that responsibility when he threw you off a cliff. Thea winces. How did you know? I guessed. He confirmed it with his reaction. Callum leans forward, elbows on his knees. Thea, I need you to tell me the truth. All of it. What happened that night? So she does. She tells him about her parents' death, about growing up in the servants' wing, about Darius's promise and how it slowly crumbled over 11 years. She tells him about Serafina, the whispered insults, the mounting pressure to leave. And she tells him about the cliff, the cold look in Darius's eyes, the gentle push that sent her falling. By the time she finishes, Callum's hands are clenched so tight his knuckles are white. He will pay for this, Callum says. His voice is quiet, controlled, which makes it more terrifying. I promise you, Thea, he will pay. I don't want revenge. I just want to be safe. You will be, but I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Thea looks into his silver eyes, sees the fierce protectiveness there, the determination. Yes, she whispers. Good, because the council will ask you questions, hard questions, about your past, your loyalties, your intentions. You need to be ready. I don't know how to be ready for that. I'll help you. Callum stands. We have 3 days. I'll teach you everything you need to know about council politics, how to answer, what to say, what not to say. Why are you doing this? Because you don't deserve what happened to you, and because my son needs you. He pauses. And because I've come to respect you. In the short time you've been here, you've shown more courage and kindness than most wolves I've known for years. Thea's throat tightens. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This won't be easy. The council is made up of 13 alphas. Most of them are traditionalists. They believe in pack hierarchy and birthright. Convincing them to let you stay will take a miracle. Then why try? Because miracles happen. Callum moves to the door, stops, looks back. And because you're worth fighting for. He leaves before she can respond. The next 3 days are a blur of preparation. Callum drills her on council protocol. How to address each alpha. How to stand. How to speak. Never lower your eyes, he says. That's a sign of submission. You're not submitting. You're claiming your right to choose. But I don't have rights. Not according to pack law. You have the right to live, the right to safety. Those are fundamental. Don't let them tell you otherwise. He teaches her the names of all 13 council members. Their packs. Their politics. Elder Morgana is the key, he says. She's the oldest, the most respected. If we can sway her, others will follow. How do we sway her? With truth. She values honesty above all else. Elwyn helps too. She brings Thea a dress for the gathering. It's deep blue, almost black, simple but elegant. It makes Thea look older, stronger. You need to look like you belong, Elowen says, pinning Thea's hair back in a simple twist. Not like a scared girl, like a woman who knows her worth. Asher doesn't understand what's happening, but he knows something is wrong. He's clingy, won't let Thea out of his sight. At night, he crawls into her bed, curling up against her side. On the second night, he draws a picture. It's Thea, standing in the middle of angry scribbles. Above her head, in shaky letters, he's written, "Don't take my mom." Thea stares at the drawing, her heart breaking. "I'm not your mom, sweetheart," she whispers. Asher looks up at her. His gray eyes are so serious, so certain. He takes a crayon, writes 2 words on the paper. "Yes, you are." Thea pulls him into her arms and holds him while he falls asleep. She doesn't sleep at all. The gathering is held at the Grand Hall, a neutral territory 3 hours north of Shadowmere. It's an enormous building, all glass and steel and soaring ceilings. The main chamber is circular, with 13 chairs arranged in a semicircle. Each chair is carved from a different wood, representing each pack. Behind those chairs in tiered seating sit the witnesses, pack members who've come to observe. There must be 100 wolves here. Thea walks into the chamber at Callum's side. She's wearing the blue dress. Her hair is pinned back. Her hands are steady. But inside, she's terrified. Every eye in the room is on her, assessing, judging. She can hear the whispers. That's her? She doesn't even smell like wolf. Why is the Alpha King bothering with a human? Callum's hand touches the small of her back, just briefly. A reminder that she's not alone. They take their places in the center of the circle. Callum stands tall and imposing. Thea stands beside him, chin up, eyes forward. Across from them, Darius stands with his 3 warriors. And beside him, looking smug, is Seraphina. The 13 council members file in. They're all older, most of them in their 50s or 60s. They wear formal robes in their pack colors. The last to enter is Elder Morgana. She's the oldest wolf Thea has ever seen. At least 70, with white hair braided down her back and eyes the color of storm clouds. She walks with a cane, but there's nothing frail about her. Power radiates from her like heat. She takes her seat in the center chair, the chair of the council leader. "This gathering is called to order," she says. Her voice is strong, clear. "We are here to adjudicate a dispute between Silver Hollow Pack and Shadowmere Pack regarding the human known as Thea Ashford." She looks at Darius. "Alpha Thornfield, state your claim." Darius steps forward. "Elder Morgana, honored council, I come before you to reclaim a member of my pack. Thea Ashford was born in Silver Hollow territory 22 years ago. Her parents served our pack faithfully until their deaths 11 years past. We took her in, raised her, provided for her. By right of birth and by pack law, she belongs to Silver Hollow. And yet, Elder Morgana says, she is currently residing in Shadowmere territory. How did this come to pass? She fell into the Iron River, an accident. The current carried her to Alpha Nightshade's lands. We are grateful he saved her life, but now we ask for her return." "An accident," Elder Morgana repeats. She looks at Thea. "Is this true, child?" Thea's mouth is dry. She feels every eye on her. "No," she says. Her voice is quiet but clear. "It wasn't an accident." Gasps ripple through the chamber. Darius's face goes red. "Elder, she's confused, traumatized." "Silence," Morgana commands. She leans forward. "Explain, child." Thea takes a breath, remembers Callum's words. "Truth. Alpha Darius pushed me off Ironwood Ridge. He said I was an embarrassment to the pack, that my presence made him look weak. He said the only way to solve the problem was if I disappeared permanently." The whispers explode into shouts. "That's absurd," Darius yells. "She's lying." "Am I?" Thea turns to face him, meets his eyes. "Then why did you tell me it was too late to just send me away? Why did you say people would ask questions?" Darius opens his mouth, closes it. Seraphina steps forward. "She's making this up to avoid going back. She never fit in with the pack. She was always resentful. Always." "I was resentful?" Thea's voice rises. She can't help it. 11 years of swallowed anger is bubbling up. "I cooked your meals, cleaned your house, raised the pack children when their parents were busy. And you repaid me by calling me worthless, by telling me I should be grateful you let me breathe the same air. You ungrateful." "Enough!" Elder Morgana's voice cuts through the chaos like a blade. "This gathering will have order." Silence falls. Morgana looks at Darius. "You deny pushing her?" "Absolutely." "And you, child, you have proof of this accusation?" Thea's heart sinks. "Only my word." which means nothing against an alphas, one of the other council members says. A man with a scarred face. Pack law requires evidence for such a serious claim. Another council member nods. This is clearly a case of he said, she said. Without proof, we must default to traditional law. And traditional law says she belongs to her birth pack. Murmurs of agreement. Callum steps forward. With respect, Elder, traditional law also holds alphas accountable for the safety of their pack members. If there's even a suspicion that Alpha Thornfield harmed this girl, should we not investigate? Suspicion is not proof, the scarred council member counters. No, but a healer's examination would provide evidence. The girl has injuries consistent with a fall from a great height. Cracked ribs, sprained ankle, cuts and bruises. If the council wishes, I can have my healer testify. Those injuries could have come from the river, Darius interrupts. The debate rages, back and forth. Argument and counter-argument. Through it all, Elder Morgana watches. Silent. Finally, she raises her hand. The room quiets. We will vote, she says. Those in favor of returning Thea Ashford to Silver Hollow Pack in accordance with birth law, raise your hands. 7 hands go up. Thea's stomach drops. Those opposed? 5 hands, 7 to 5. Darius wins. Thea feels the ground tilt beneath her. It's over. She's going back. Back to Silver Hollow, where Darius can finish what he started. But Elder Morgana isn't finished. There is one more matter to consider, she says. Pack law also recognizes the bond between wolves and their chosen. While Thea Ashford has no wolf of her own, she may have formed bonds in Shadowmere that supersede birth claims. Callum's eyes widen. Elder, are you suggesting? I am suggesting, Morgana says, that we hear from the one whose opinion matters most in this case. She gestures to the back of the hall. The doors open, and Asher walks in. Thea's breath stops. Asher shouldn't be here. He's supposed to be at Shadowmere with Elowen, safe and far from this. But here he is, small and scared in a room full of strangers. Callum moves toward him. Asher, what are you? I asked Elowen to bring him, Elder Morgana says. Children see truths that adults miss. They have not yet learned to lie with their hearts. She looks at Asher. Come here, child. Asher walks forward slowly. His eyes find Thea. He doesn't look away. When he reaches the center, he stops between Thea and Darius. Asher Nightshade, Morgana says gently. Do you know why you're here? Asher nods. There's a choice to be made about where Thea should live. Can you help us decide? Another nod. Morgana smiles. It's the first smile Thea has seen from her. Good boy, now, I want you to think carefully. Thea can only belong to one pack. Either Silver Hollow, where she was born, or Shadowmere, where she lives now. Where do you think she should be? The room is completely silent. Asher looks at Thea. His gray eyes are huge. Frightened. He opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. He tries again. His lips move, but no sound. Thea's heart breaks. He's trying so hard. She can see it. The strain in his small body, the frustration in his face. But the words won't come. Darius laughs. It's a cruel sound. See, he can't even answer. The boy is mute. This is pointless. He's 6 years old, Callum snarls, and he's traumatized. You can't expect... I expect the council to follow the law, Darius says, which is clear. She belongs to Silver Hollow. The council members start murmuring again, nodding. Asher's eyes fill with tears. He looks at Thea, desperate, and she can see it written all over his face. I want you to stay. Please don't go. But he can't say it. The vote is going to stand, 7 to 5. Thea is going back to Silver Hollow. Elder Morgana sighs. Very well. If the child cannot... Wait, Thea steps forward. Please, just wait. Morgana raises an eyebrow. Yes, child? I know I don't have rights under pack law. I know I'm not a wolf, but I'm still a person. And as a person, I should have the right to choose where I live. Pack law doesn't recognize individual choice over pack claim, the scarred council member says. Then pack law is wrong. Gasps, actual gasps. You dare, Darius starts. Yes, I dare. Thea's voice is shaking, but she doesn't stop. I dare to say that treating people like property is wrong. I dare to say that forcing someone to return to a place where they were abused is wrong. I dare to say that law without mercy is cruelty. She looks at Elder Morgana. You said children see truths. Look at him. Look at Asher. He can't speak the words, but you can see them in his eyes. He's asking you not to take me away. And if you do, you'll be breaking his heart. Is that what pack law demands? Breaking children? Morgana's expression is unreadable. The silence stretches. Vote again, Morgana finally says. Knowing what we know now, all in favor of returning Thea Ashford to Silver Hollow? This time, only 5 hands go up. 2 council members have changed their votes. All opposed? 7 hands. The vote has flipped. Darius's face goes white. No, the council has spoken, Morgana says. Thea Ashford will remain in Shadowmere Pack. Relief floods through Thea so powerfully she almost collapses. But Morgana isn't done. However, she says, and Thea's relief turns to ice. There is still the matter of Alpha Thornfield's accusation. Did you push her, Alpha? Tell me true. Darius's jaw works. She fell. I didn't ask what happened. I asked what you did. For a long moment, Darius says nothing. Then quietly, she didn't belong there. She was a weakness, a liability. I did what was necessary for my pack. The chamber erupts. Council members are on their feet, shouting. Callum lunges forward, but 2 warriors grab him. You bastard. You admit it, and you feel nothing. Silence! Morgana's voice is thunder. Silence in this hall. Everyone freezes. Morgana stands. She's not tall, but in this moment she seems to tower over everyone. Alpha Darius Thornfield, she says, her voice is cold as winter. You have confessed to attempted murder, to the betrayal of pack trust, to violating the sacred duty of an alpha to protect all under his care. Darius realizes his mistake, tries to backtrack. Elder, you are stripped of your alpha title for 10 years. You will be exiled from Silver Hollow Pack, and you will not be permitted to challenge for leadership in any pack for the duration of your exile. Darius sways like he's been struck. 10 years? Elder, please. Be grateful it's not permanent. Morgana looks at Serafina. And you? Did you encourage this? Serafina pales. I only suggested that the human's presence was causing problems. That's what I thought. Morgana's lip curls. Your engagement is dissolved. Silver Hollow will choose a new alpha from among their elders until Darius's exile is complete. Serafina makes a sound of protest, but one look from Morgana silences her. Morgana turns to Thea. You are free to remain in Shadowmere Pack, with all rights and protections therein. Is this acceptable to you? Thea can barely speak. Yes, Elder. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank the child who fought for you without words. Thea looks at Asher. He's crying now, silent tears streaming down his face. And he's smiling. Thea drops to her knees and opens her arms. Asher runs to her. He crashes into her, wrapping his small arms around her neck. And he's shaking with sobs, but he won't let go. It's okay, Thea whispers. I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. Over Asher's head, she meets Callum's eyes. He's looking at her with something that takes her breath away. Not gratitude, not relief. Something deeper. Something that feels like the beginning of everything. The drive back to Shadowmere is quiet. Asher falls asleep in Thea's lap, exhausted from emotion. His small body is warm and heavy, his breathing deep and even. Callum drives in silence, his hands tight on the steering wheel. It's not until they're nearly home that he speaks. Thank you, he says. For what? For fighting, for staying. I didn't have a choice, not really. You did. You could have run, disappeared before the gathering, but you stayed. You stood up to the council, to Darius. You were... He trails off. I was what? Magnificent. The word hangs in the air between them. Thea doesn't know what to say, so she just looks out the window at the passing trees. When they reach the estate, Callum carries Asher up to bed. The boy doesn't wake, just curls into his father's chest. Thea follows them upstairs, watches as Callum tucks his son in, pulling the blankets up to his chin. Sleep well, buddy, Callum whispers. In the hallway, they stand facing each other. He's going to be okay, Thea says. Because of you. Because of both of us. Callum reaches out, slowly, carefully, and he tucks a strand of hair behind Thea's ear. His fingers linger on her cheek. Thea, he says, yes? I'm glad you're staying. Me too. They're standing so close. Close enough that Thea can see the flecks of darker gray in his eyes, can smell the pine and rain scent of him. He's going to kiss her. She can see it in the way his gaze drops to her mouth, and she wants him to. But before he can, a sound breaks the moment. A voice. Small, uncertain, but unmistakable. Mom? They both freeze. Slowly they turn. Asher is standing in his doorway. His eyes are half closed with sleep, but he's looking at Thea. Mom, he says again, clearer this time. Don't go. Thea's breath catches. Callum stares at his son, tears streaming down his face. I'm here, sweetheart, Thea manages. I'm right here. Stay? I'm staying, I promise. Asher smiles. Good. And then he shuffles back to bed, climbs under the covers, and falls asleep again. Like speaking for the first time in 3 years is the most natural thing in the world. Thea and Callum stand in the hallway, stunned. He spoke, Callum whispers. He actually spoke. He did. He called you Mom. I heard. Callum turns to her. Thea, I know. No, you don't. He takes her hands. That boy hasn't spoken since the night his mother died. Hasn't reached out to anyone. Hasn't smiled. Hasn't laughed. And in 2 weeks, you've given him all of that back. You've given him hope. You've given him a mother. Callum, let me finish. He squeezes her hands. I don't know what this is. This thing between us. But I know it matters. You matter. To Asher. To me. And I don't want you here just as his nanny. I want you here as family. Thea's eyes fill with tears. As family? If you'll have us. She looks at him. This fierce, broken, beautiful man who's fought for her, protected her, seen her. And she knows her answer. Yes, she whispers. Yes, I'll have you. This time when he leans in, nothing stops him. His lips meet hers, and it's like coming home. Spring arrives at Shadowmere like a whispered promise. The snow melts from the mountains, revealing green beneath. Wildflowers bloom in the meadows. Birds return, filling the air with song. And inside the estate, everything has changed. Asher talks now, constantly, about everything. Mom, look at this bug. It's huge. Mom, can we make cookies again? Mom, Dad says we can go to the lake this weekend. Will you come? Thea has stopped correcting him, stopped saying, I'm not your mom, because the truth is, she is. In every way that matters, she is. She wakes him in the mornings, helps him get dressed, makes him breakfast, reads to him at night, kisses his forehead when he has nightmares. And he calls her Mom. Callum calls her something else. At first, it was just Thea. Then it became Sweetheart, when Asher wasn't listening. And now, when they're alone, it's often my love. Because somewhere between the council meeting and Spring's arrival, something shifted. It started small. A hand held a moment too long, eyes meeting across the dinner table, fingers brushing when they both reached for the same book. Then came the walks. After Asher went to bed, Callum would find Thea in the library or the garden, and they would walk together through the estate grounds, talking about everything and nothing. He told her about Isabeau, not just the tragedy, but the love, the laughter, the life they'd built together. I'll always love her, he said one night, standing under the stars. But I'm learning that the heart is bigger than we think. There's room for more than one love. Thea told him about her parents, about Darius and the cliff and the years of feeling invisible. You're not invisible to me, Callum said, taking her hand. You're the brightest thing in my world. The first kiss happened 3 months ago, in the library. Thea was reaching for a book on the top shelf when Callum came up behind her, easily pulling it down. Here, he said, handing it to her. Their fingers touched and didn't let go. He looked at her. She looked at him. And then he kissed her, soft, gentle, asking permission with every movement. When they pulled apart, Thea was breathless. Was that okay? Callum asked. More than okay. They've been inseparable since. Now, on a bright spring morning, Thea is in the kitchen making pancakes. Asher is at the table, drawing. Callum is reading the newspaper, his reading glasses perched on his nose. It's domestic, normal, perfect. Mom, can I have chocolate chips in mine? Asher asks. Of course. Can I have extra? How much is extra? Asher grins. Lots. Thea laughs. We'll see. Callum looks up from his paper, watches them with soft eyes. Thea catches his gaze. What? Nothing. Just happy. Me too. After breakfast, Callum asks Thea to take a walk with him. Sure, she says. Let me just clean up. I'll clean up, Elowen says, appearing in the doorway. You two go. Enjoy the sunshine. Callum takes Thea's hand and leads her outside. Not to the usual garden path, but toward the forest. To a trail she's never seen before. Where are we going? She asks. You'll see. They walk in comfortable silence, their fingers interlaced. The forest is alive with spring. Green everywhere, the smell of pine and earth and new growth. After 20 minutes, they emerge into a clearing. Thea gasps. It's beautiful. A small meadow filled with wildflowers. A stream running through it, crystal clear. Mountains rising in the distance, still snow-capped at the peaks. Callum, this is where I proposed to Isabeau, he says quietly. Thea's breath catches. She looks at him. He's nervous. She can see it in the way he's gripping her hand, the way his jaw is tight. I wanted to bring you here, he continues, because this place matters to me. It's where I started one chapter of my life, and I want to start another one here. Callum, he lets go of her hand, and he drops to one knee. Thea's heart stops. From his pocket, he pulls a small velvet box, opens it. Inside is a ring, simple, elegant, a single stone that catches the sunlight and throws rainbows. Thea Ashford, Callum says. His voice is shaking. I never thought I'd love again. I thought that part of my life was over. But then you showed up, half drowned and stubborn, and you changed everything. You gave my son his voice back. You gave me hope. You gave us both a reason to keep living instead of just surviving. Thea's vision is blurring with tears. I know we haven't known each other long, Callum continues. I know this is fast, but when you know, you know. And I know that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to grow old with you. I want to build a family with you. He takes a shaky breath. Thea, will you marry me? For a moment, Thea can't speak, can't breathe. Then, yes, Callum blinks. Yes? Yes, she says again, louder this time. She drops to her knees in front of him. Yes, I'll marry you. 1,000 times yes. He pulls her into his arms, kisses her like she's the air he needs to breathe. When they finally pull apart, he slides the ring onto her finger. It fits perfectly. I love you, he says. I love you too. They sit in the meadow for a long time, wrapped in each other's arms, talking about the future, about the wedding, about the life they're going to build. Asher is going to be thrilled, Thea says. Callum laughs. He's been asking when we're getting married for weeks. I think he's been planning his ring-bearer outfit. Of course he has. As they walk back to the estate, Thea's hand in his, the ring catching the light, Callum says quietly, thank you. For what? For saying yes, for choosing us, for loving my son. Our son, Thea corrects gently. Callum stops walking, looks at her. Our son? If that's okay with you. He pulls her close. It's more than okay. When they get home, Asher is waiting on the front steps. He sees the ring on Thea's finger and his eyes go wide. You said yes? He shrieks. I said yes. Asher runs to them, throwing his arms around both of them. This is the best day ever. Elowen appears in the doorway, wiping her eyes. Congratulations, you three. That night, after Asher is in bed, Thea and Callum sit in his study, planning, dreaming. Small wedding, Thea says, just us and the people we love. Agreed, we can have it here, in the meadow. In the meadow, Thea repeats, smiling, where it all began. Callum pulls her onto his lap, where everything began. They kiss, slow and deep and full of promise. And for the first time in years, both of them feel complete. The wedding is small, just as they planned. 30 people, family and close friends, held in the meadow where Callum proposed. The weather is perfect. Clear skies, gentle breeze, wildflowers in full bloom. Thea wears a simple white dress, no veil, just flowers woven into her hair. Callum wears a dark suit. His hair is pulled back. He looks nervous and happy and impossibly handsome. But the star of the show is Asher, 8 years old now, growing like a weed, all gangly limbs and bright smiles. He's the ring bearer, as he demanded. He takes his job very seriously, carrying the pillow with both rings like it's made of glass. When Thea walks down the aisle on Elowen's arm, Asher grins so wide his face might split. Elder Morgana officiates. She came all the way from the winter gathering grounds for this. We are here, she says, to witness the joining of two souls who have already joined their lives. The vows are simple, heartfelt. Callum promises to love her, to protect her, to choose her every day. Thea promises to stand by him, to raise their children together, to build a life filled with laughter and love. They exchange rings. And when Elder Morgana says, you may kiss your bride, Callum doesn't hesitate. He kisses Thea like they're the only two people in the world. The guests cheer, Asher whoops, and just like that, they're married. The reception is held in the gardens of Shadowmere, tables set up under string lights, food and music and dancing. During the father-son dance, Asher insists that Thea join them. So the three of them dance together. A family. When it's time to cut the cake, Asher helps, getting frosting everywhere. You did that on purpose, Thea accuses, laughing. Maybe, Asher says, grinning. As the sun sets, Callum takes Thea's hand and leads her away from the party, to a quiet corner of the garden. Happy? He asks. Happier than I ever thought possible. Me too, he pauses. I have something to tell you. Thea's heart skips. What? I wanted to wait until today. To make it perfect. He takes both her hands. Thea, you're pregnant. She stares at him. What? You're pregnant, about 6 weeks. How could you possibly? I'm a werewolf. I can smell it, the change in your scent. It happened about 2 weeks ago. Thea's hands fly to her stomach. I'm, we're, we're having a baby. She starts crying, happy tears that won't stop. Callum pulls her close. Is this okay? Are you happy? I'm ecstatic. Callum, we're having a baby. They hold each other as the stars come out, planning, dreaming, marveling at how much their lives have changed. Asher's going to be so excited, Thea says. He's been asking for a sibling for months. Should we tell him tonight? Let's wait until morning. Let today be about us. That night, after all the guests have left and Asher is asleep, Thea and Callum lie in bed together, married, expecting a baby, building a life. I can't believe this is real, Thea whispers. Believe it. Callum's hand rests on her still flat stomach. You're stuck with us now. Good, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. 2 years after the wedding, Thea stands in the nursery rocking a baby girl. Her name is Clara, named after Thea's mother. She has Callum's gray eyes and Thea's dark hair. She's 3 months old, and she's perfect. Clara fusses, making little sounds. Shh, Thea murmurs, swaying gently. Mama's here. The door opens. Asher peeks in. He's 10 now, still growing, still grinning constantly. Is she asleep yet? He whispers. Almost. Asher tiptoes over, looks down at his baby sister with so much love it makes Thea's chest ache. She's so small, he whispers. You were once this small too. Really? Really. Asher gently touches Clara's tiny hand. She immediately grabs his finger. She's strong, he says proudly. Like Mom. Like both her parents, Callum says from the doorway. He comes in, wrapping his arms around Thea from behind. His chin rests on her shoulder as they all look down at Clara. Our family, Callum murmurs. Our family, Thea agrees. Clara finally falls asleep, her little chest rising and falling, peacefully. Thea carefully places her in the crib. All three of them stand there for a moment, just watching her. Then Callum takes Asher's hand. Come on, buddy, let's let your sister sleep. Can I read her a story tomorrow? Of course. They tiptoe out of the nursery, down the hall, to Asher's room. Callum tucks him in. Good night, son. Night, Dad. Asher looks at Thea. Night, Mom. Good night, sweetheart. Thea kisses his forehead, smooths his hair, and she remembers. Remembers the first time she saw him. A small black wolf pup, licking her face by the river. Remembers him taking her hand, protecting her from his father. Remembers his first word after 3 years of silence. Mom. She's been his mom ever since. As they leave his room, turning off the light, Asher calls out one more time. Mom? Yes, honey? I love you. Thea's throat tightens. I love you too. So much. In their bedroom, Callum pulls Thea into his arms. You okay? He asks. More than okay, I was just thinking. About what? About how far we've come, how different everything is. Callum kisses her temple. Do you ever miss your old life? Thea doesn't even have to think about it. No, never. That wasn't a life. This is? They stand at the window, looking out over the Shadowmere lands, the forest, the mountains, the meadow where they were married. They said I was worthless, Thea says quietly, because I didn't have a wolf, because I was human. Weak. You were never weak. I know that now, but for so long, I believed them. I thought that without a wolf, I was nothing. And now? Now I know that strength isn't about fangs or claws or supernatural power. It's about love. It's about showing up every day and choosing to be kind, to be brave, to fight for the people you care about. Callum turns her to face him. You saved us, you know, me and Asher. We were drowning in grief, and you pulled us back to shore. We saved each other. We did. From down the hall, they hear Clara starting to fuss again. I'll get her, Thea says. We'll get her, Callum corrects. They go together into the nursery, where their daughter is waiting. Thea picks Clara up, and immediately the baby settles. She knows you, Callum says softly. She knows us. They sit in the rocking chair together. Callum's arm around Thea, Thea holding Clara, the three of them fitting together perfectly. Clara's eyes start to close, but before she falls asleep, she makes a little sound. It sounds almost like mama. Thea's eyes fill with tears. Callum kisses the top of her head. Happy? Happier than I ever dreamed possible. Outside, the moon rises over Shadowmere. The wolves in the pack run through the forest, their howls carrying on the wind. But inside the estate, in the warm nursery, there's only peace. A family, not bound by blood or tradition or pack law, bound by choice, by love, by the promise to show up for each other every single day. Thea rocks Clara, humming the lullaby her mother once sang to her, and she thinks about the girl she used to be, the one who was thrown off a cliff and left to die. That girl is gone. In her place is a woman, a mother, a wife, a queen in her own right, not because of any title or power, but because she chose to survive, to fight, and to love, and she was loved in return. Asher pads into the nursery, unable to sleep. Can I sleep in here with you guys? Of course, Thea says. He grabs his pillow and blanket and curls up on the floor next to the rocking chair. Within minutes, he's asleep. Callum looks at his family, his son, his wife, his daughter. This is everything, he whispers. This is everything, Thea agrees. Clara falls into a deep sleep in Thea's arms. And there, in the quiet of the night, with her family around her, Thea finally understands. She doesn't need a wolf to be whole. She never did. Because family isn't about what's inside you. It's about who chooses to stand beside you. And she's been chosen. By a little boy who couldn't speak but found his voice to say mom. By a broken alpha who learned to love again. By a baby girl who will grow up knowing she's wanted, cherished, safe. They chose her, and she chose them back, forever.